So I just want to talk about graduated driving licenses, or GDL. It's something that's come up quite a lot in the media recently, and quite a few of my clients have been asking about it as well, some with some concerns. Now, first of all, what is graduated or GDL, graduated driving licenses? They are a license where once you've passed your test, there are restrictions in place. This can be done in various different ways. It could be done by limiting the amount of people in your car if you're under the age of 25. It could be limiting the time of day that you do drive, curfews. It could be limiting the speeds that you do as well. And this is something that's been basically effective in a few countries over the last few years. So it's been used in Australia, New Zealand, Canada, South Africa, Sweden, and some states in America as well. So it has been quite effective, reducing the amount of serious injuries or fatalities in under 25s by up to 40%. So it is a good thing for saving lives and saving injury. Will it work in the UK? Potentially. At the end of the day, it has worked in other countries. But there is something that I know from driving in some of those countries compared to being over here, where those drivers in those countries abide to the law much better than they do over here. Okay, and this is where I do have concerns about GDL, because it could be very stringent, but if there's no police to enforce it, it's a complete waste of time. And this is something that I've been pushing government for quite a few years now, that in my opinion, the constabulary police forces, when it comes to road policing, is very much like a postcode lottery of who's good and who's not. Where I live in London, the Met Police, absolutely useless. Okay, I cannot remember the last time I saw a speed trap. I don't even think we've got any vans in London at the moment. Whereas you compare that to, say, Devon and Cornwall, where they're using new technology. Their road police officers are out pretty much every single day in different locations, moving around. There is a massive difference. And I'm not saying that we should be policed to the maximum. However, I spend a lot of my time on the roads, and I'm basically at the mercy of other drivers, as are my learners, as are some of you that are watching this video. You know how many times we get tailgated, how many times people cut you up, how many times, even if you're doing the speed limit, somebody will overtake you. This happens every 5-10 minutes. These are dangerous things, and if a client accidentally hits the brake harder than they should, we're going to get rear-ended. I've been involved in far too many collisions, in excess of 30, I think it is, over the 18 years that I've been teaching. And why? Not because of my students' fault. We're clearly a learner car, but because of people driving like absolute morons too closely to the back of the car, or cutting people up, or doing stupid things. And this is where I think we need to be. I think we need a better police force, and we need a stricter CPS, Crown Prosecution Service. As a medical assessor, for instance, I've assessed way too many people that have got life-changing injuries. They're never going to get any better. And the person that's caused those injuries due to dangerous driving has had a couple 100 hours of community service, or they've been given a 3-month ban. Is that really good enough? And the one that really is a bugbear of mine, and this is my own opinions obviously, is the exceptional hardship rule. So we were talking about the 6 points before, and 12 points if you're a fully qualified driver until you get banned. However, there is a get out of jail card called exceptional hardship. So if taking away your license means that you will lose your job, potentially stop being able to care for somebody, there are loads of other things. I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not going to go into what I think it probably is, but you can get away with still being able to drive. And there's a case that's come up a couple of weeks back where there was a driver who was in his mid-20s, is still legally allowed to drive, and has 176 points on their license. Just put that into perspective. 176 points on their license and still being allowed to drive. And what you've got to think is that person clearly hasn't learnt their lesson, and they're driving dangerously around you, your family, your loved ones, your friends. You know, they're risking our lives, and I think we need to do more. And it's not, I'm not just piling this onto the police, okay? One of my other bugbears is the way that learners are taught. I think as an industry, driving instructors needs to do more. We shouldn't be teaching people in test route only areas. You know, I teach people into central London. I take them onto the M25. I like to get them to venture out and think for themselves. But too many instructors just teach in the local area to the test centre. And that doesn't make for good drivers afterwards. Because as soon as you come out that area, you have no idea how to deal with those roads because you don't have that thought process. One other thing that I think could potentially help, and this is going to potentially get a lot of people's backs up, and I want to hear your insight on this. I think we need to increase the minimum age of driving to 18 as a minimum, and then have GDL up until potentially even 25. And this is sadly aimed more towards the males than the females. The part of the brain that develops fear and risk develops fully in women normally up until the age of about 10, but the part of the brain stops growing at the age of 4. It's fully formed at the age of 4 in women. In men, it's up to the age of 25. Okay, we are very slow in developing fear, and as a result, that's why male drivers are more likely to be involved in collisions. So I think we need to increase the age to 18. A lot of countries around the world are 18, and we then need to think about the GDL from that. And there's one other thing that I'm also going to put as a caveat. I would love to see the minimum, or the drink driving limit, basically decreased. The UK has one of the highest thresholds in the world for allowing alcohol to be in the blood. Okay, you get people that say, oh, you can have 1 pint, 2 pints. That's all rubbish. Okay, everyone's body metabolizes alcohol at different rates. But you have a lot of countries out there which will have a zero policy. You have some which have half of the policy of the UK. We're 0.35. You get quite a few that are in the 1.5 range. Even Ireland is a lower one, and that's our neighbouring country. So there's a lot that I think we need to really do. Driving instructors need to up their game. Police needs to be out there enforcing. CPS needs to be basically pushing for stronger punishment. And we also need to basically make tolerances of things that are more dangerous much lower, in my opinion. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on all of this, and I'd like to see your comments. I will try to reply to every single one of you, because this is something that's a real passion for me, is to make roads safer. So please comment, share, and I look forward to seeing those messages.